Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be giving you guys an injury update on Washington football team running back Bryce Love, and we'll talk about the likelihood that he makes the roster this year. We'll also go over some players that the Washington football team re-signed and quickly touch on Ryan Anderson signing with the New York Giants. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. So let's get right into the video. As most of you guys know, the Washington football team drafted Bryce Love in the 4th round of the 2019 NFL draft, and he missed his whole rookie year recovering from an ACL injury that happened in 2018, and it is now 2021. Last year, he went through training camp, was doing all right, and wasn't at the level that he was in college health-wise, but was progressing a little bit. He made the roster, but never was on the active game day roster, and then a few weeks into the season they put him on IR, and he remained on IR for the rest of the season. So his first 2 years in the NFL, he has not played a single NFL snap, and his future is a little bit in doubt. So, we'll get into the injury update right here. So this was reported by John Keim on his podcast. Make sure you guys take a listen to that. Go ahead and listen to that. But he said that Bryce Love recently had another procedure done to his knee this offseason to clean up some things down there. So he's had a bunch of these procedures, and he has told people close to him that he's feeling really, really good. And the Washington football team is still pretty intrigued by what Bryce Love can do and, to see what he can do. But anything he does will be seen as a bonus for the Washington football team. So they're not going to be relying on him. But if he comes into camp and, really does well, then that'll just be a bonus for the Washington football team. If they still think they need to address the running back position, they will not be counting on Bryce Love to ball out and be healthy like he was in college. If you look at his stats at Stanford, they were absolutely insane. In his junior year, he finished, 3rd in Heisman votes, which just shows how great of a season he had and how great of a running back he was at Stanford. Freshman year, didn't do too much, had about 225 yards and 2 touchdowns, 250 yards receiving though, which was the most he had at Stanford. But if you look at his sophomore year, improved a bit, 783 yards and 7.1 yards per carry. And then his junior year was just absolutely insane. 263 rushes for 2,118 yards and 8.1 yards per carry. He also had 19 touchdowns and then about 33 yards receiving. And then his, senior year, he fell off a little bit, actually a lot. But part of that was due to, he had a really, really good offensive line in his junior year. And in that senior year, most of those guys, went to the NFL, and, he did have that ACL injury in his senior year. But the thing that's concerning is that happened in 2018. That happened in December, I believe, of 2018. And we are now in 2021. So it's been like 2.5 almost years since that injury happened, and he still hasn't fully recovered. And that's super, super concerning. And that's, of course, why the Washington football team isn't banking on him coming back. They're just seeing anything, he does this offseason as a bonus. Of course, he has a lot of potential, and he would fill, a little bit of a need, because I think we could use another back that could come in if Gibson's hurt, or even just with Gibson as well. And I think Bryce Love, if healthy, could provide that. And, he's still going to be relatively cheap, although it's crazy. He's going to be a free agent in a couple years, 'cause this is his 3rd year. He has one more season after that, but it's going to be interesting to see if he does make the roster this year. I think it's going to be a training camp battle. Obviously, you got Gibson, you got McKissick. Those two are going to make it, and then it's going to be a battle between Barber, Love and Lamar Miller and anyone else they bring in to make that roster. They're probably going to carry 3 to 4 backs. I think 4 running backs made the roster last season initially, and then obviously Bryce Love was placed on IR later in the season. So we'll see what happens with Bryce Love. I'm a little bit intrigued, but obviously you're cautious, and I'm not really expecting much. It's been 2.5 years, and he still hasn't recovered from the injury. He's had multiple surgeries after the ACL injury, and he still hasn't recovered. So I'm a little bit skeptical, but hey, if he turns out to if he ends up balling out, that's going to be a huge help to the Washington football team because he's cheap, he's young, and he's going to be able to help out our running back core, and it's going to be a great thing. But I'm not banking on it, though. We will see. It's going to be interesting to see, if he makes it through training camp, and at least I hope he gets some touches in the preseason if we have one. So now on to quickly, the Washington football team did re-sign cornerback Danny Johnson and also is re-signing linebacker Jared Norris. Jared Norris really doesn't get any snaps playing linebacker, but he does play a lot on special teams and is a solid special teams guy. And of course, it's going to be a 90-man roster before official cuts come in, so some of these guys won't even be making the roster. And then Danny Johnson coming back, I like the move. He didn't really play cornerback much for us this past season, but was solid in the kick return game. Didn't return, he most of the time he didn't return the kicks. He just took a knee, but when he did, he usually had some pretty solid returns, and I like what he can do. Still think they need to add a punt returner. We don't want to see Steven Sims back there. Going to be really interesting to see what they do at punt returner and maybe even kick returner. And I still do think they need some more depth at the cornerback position. There's a lot of free agents available. They're kind of big name guys, but Steven Nelson from the Steelers just got released. AJ Bouye, Casey Hayward. There's a lot of different guys. And then also John Kai mentioned, which this could fill that cornerback need. He said that, he said that Fabian Moreau could be an option at this point to be re-signed. It would obviously be for very cheap, most likely the minimum, and he could provide some cornerback depth. There was a point in time in the season, in the middle of the season, where he didn't really play that much, but his snaps started to pick up a little bit at the end of the season. And, he's been able to get some picks for us these last couple of years, and maybe he can come back and provide some really good depth for us. Still have Greg Stroman on the roster. We'll see how that one pans out. And then, of course, real quick, the Giants signed outside linebacker who played for us, our second-round pick, Ryan Anderson. We'll see how he, pans out. It's a better scheme for him, 3-4, and, maybe he can provide a nice depth for the Giants. Nothing much else to say about Ryan Anderson. Let me know what you guys have to say about that. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. And peace, guys.